Welcome to SUFO Vancouver.
Hello everyone, welcome to SUFO Vancouver, the third episode. I feel really proud that we have made it so far. But we have made a lot of progress on our startup site, and this as a venture in itself to make a podcast. I thought it was going to be very hard, but it's coming along pretty good. I thought I'll be stressed out a lot, but it's not so much. I am doing a solo podcast today, and I want to keep it as short as possible. And I do have quite a bit of agenda to cover today. What I want to do today is talk about what progress we've made so far and what philosophy we're using to get here. I don't want to be a podcast where it teaches how to do your startup, because I think there are other resources out there which are more authentic in that. And then I think it's more important to present my podcast as what's the thinking process, what the lessons I am implementing to get where we are going. With that said, let's begin. We are on third episode, which means the startup is now 1.5 months old. Time does fly very fast. And I think we are making good progress, but we could have done a lot more, probably because this is the end of December and the Christmas and New Year's upon us. And since this is a New Year Eve, let me tell you, Happy New Year too. Can't believe this is going to be 2025. And people who were born in 2000 are now turning into 25-year-old adults. So let's talk about the philosophy and the process that we're going through so far. The philosophy right now, which I am very religiously following, is we are at a stage of figuring out what works and what does not work. So we're in a process of finding things that works or not. So how do you know if things works or not? You talk to 10 different people, you hear a lot of different things. Is that a success? Or is there metrics you're going to put to measure your success? So this is where I think it's really important. What we have done is we have laid out our hypothesis. If the hypothesis is coming true, then that's great, which is very unlikely that you're going to hit gold right on the round one. So then you have to pivot yourself, not necessarily pivoting away from the business, but experiment different ideas. This startup, we are trying to implement what is known in internet as crowdsourced delivery, meaning any type of delivery is done by travelers, not dedicated employee with infrastructure in place, which would be a traditional business model of what they call carriers, which is like Canada Post and UPS and FedEx. So we are a new breed of, we can say, carrier, which does not have any of those infrastructures. And we depend on travelers who are already traveling in that directions. So we're not paying them as an employee, but we are subsidizing a little bit of money to them, so that makes it worthwhile to pick up a product and then deliver it. So immediately when you hear that, sounds fantastic idea. Some of the concerns will be safety, risks of taking somebody else's products while you're traveling. Since it's not done, you haven't heard about it before, would you trust anybody to take your products, which could be expensive? So the thing is, we are fully insured. Our cargoes are 100% insured. If they're lost, damaged, stolen, you get your product worth through insurance claim. And if you're worried that there's a risk of taking somebody else's products, then it's very similar to Uber, DoorDash, package delivery. So food delivery, these are somebody else's product and you happen to deliver them for some money. So I don't think there's completely new challenges come with this process. There could be challenges where Transport Canada regulates transportation of goods across the interprovincial highways. So we have to follow the regulations. So we cannot take any dangerous goods. So if we steer away from that, then I think it's fully secure, and there's not a lot of risk here. Back to the hypothesis, and we want to test them as quick as possible, at the same time having as little risk as possible. We don't want to put our money or anybody else's money on the line unless we know it works. So we're not putting any money right now, we're not hiring anybody, we're not buying ads, we're doing this in a way there's no risk to any investments. Which is very, very important for early startup right now, because we are in the process of experimenting. We don't want to experiment with money. So the first hypothesis we are talking about is we can actually economically deliver product from place A to place B compared to the traditional courier methods. The traditional courier methods, they are relying on economy of scale. They move volumes, so the cost per unit is generally lower. So you're able to send a letter to another corner of a country within a couple of bucks. If it gets a little bit heavier or larger, then you start paying more money. Although you're talking about economy of scale, but you still have to have that infrastructure. You have to have the employee. You need to have the corporate office. You need to have all these different vehicles which depreciate very, very quickly, and then you have this management corporate expenses that comes with it. The way that we can avoid is we're actually relying on a person who's already going in that direction, and then it happens so that they do a little detour at the start, and they do a little detour somewhere in the middle. Doesn't have to be at the start. Somebody could be traveling from Vancouver to, let's say, Hope, and they pick up a product from Langley and then deliver it to, let's say, Chilliwack. It's a probably 10 or 15 minutes detour here on the Langley side, and maybe 10 or 15 minutes detour on the Chilliwack side. So that's the idea. So we're just paying them for that inconvenience of doing a little bit of detour from their main route, and I think we can sufficiently compensate that. And where our ideas will start to kind of make a more compounding effect, or the cost is going to go down if you could aggregate the packets. If you can send 3 packets at the same time, one person is carrying all of them, then we'll have a really good deal there. But there are enough types of demands in the market where we can provide an on-demand intercities delivery, which will have a very competitive price compared to the traditional means. And that's the one hypothesis. We need to prove that when we do an on-demand delivery, we're actually competing with the traditional type of courier. And I think we have enough information and some of the math that I don't want to share right now that makes us believe that that is possible. But unless we do it, we don't know. We haven't done one single delivery yet. We do have business clients who are ready to send their product. Possibly by next episode, we'll have done several of these trials to gather data to prove that the model actually works. The second hypothesis is, while doing so, the drivers are actually happy. They are making enough money that makes it worthwhile to them. And also the idea that as these things grow, there's going to be more demand of product to be shipped, and there's going to be more of the people who are signing up to deliver this while they're traveling. So that way we can envision that the product can be picked at a location, dropped at another point, maybe picked up a couple of things on the path, and then by the time they deliver it in the final destination, when they're returning back, also there are similar opportunities they can take. And they can do their math, and they can figure out if that's worthwhile for them to do or not. So that way, our idea was, can you actually make traveling free? Can you envision that you can travel from here to Victoria, and then while doing this, not a major but a minor detours and a couple of places, you can actually make enough money so that your gas your tickets, expenses are actually paid out. Here we're not talking about salary, we're not talking about employee. If you do that, then things become exorbitantly expensive because you rely on one driver to send one product to one location. That does not make any sense. And for a local delivery, it works out for Uber and DoorDash, like these breeds of companies, because the transaction's happening fast and it takes about 5 or 10 minutes. So if you can do that for 3-4 times in an hour, even $5 kind of add up and probably reaches $20-25 per hour. But then again, you have expenses for your gas and all that stuff. So you're not making a lot of money doing so, but the problem there is people actually relying it as an employment. Here we're not doing so stuff. If people are start doing this as an employment, then we have to worry about how to kind of not be a company that preys upon working people. Okay, so that's the second hypothesis. And the last hypothesis is we have enough money to spare as a profit so that we can convince investors to invest in us and this business model to grow fast. If we don't have a sizable profit margin, then there's no point in building this as a startup. There's a little bit of difference in my understanding what startup and what a business in general are. Startup is supposed to grow really fast, and they're supposed to be highly risky because these are done in a time period that does not allow anybody to observe seasonal changes, let's say market cycles, what market cycles does to this, what to the profitability. So these are done really fast. There's a lot of risks to it. Although we do all this stuff to minimize the risk, there's always a lot of risk. Startup fails a lot. And then what investors are looking for, if there's an upside happens, then they are in a position to make a lot of returns. So how's that possible? That you have a good profit margin, it's scalable, it's replicable to any market. That's what we're looking for. So all these three things are hypothesis. We are assuming we're going to make a really good return. We have a really good profit margin. We're assuming drivers are going to be happy. We're assuming the companies we're signing up with is going to be happy. Okay, if they're not, then we need to change something so that it works. So that's the hypothesis, and the guiding principle: we're not spending a single dollar. The money we've spent so far is on the Hostinger account, which was about $180 for 3 years of hosting. It allows us to host about 100 websites, so that's why I took it. I'm actually sharing cost between me and the company, so the company actually paid about $80 for the Hostinger and another $10-20 for the domain. So so far we've spent about $100 and countless nights. As you can see that I'm kind of having a hard time opening my eyes fully because I've been doing a lot of late nights last week so far to build the websites and adding capacity and all that. So that's the update, and I also want to show that while we're at it, I give you some quick demo of how I did things so that makes sense to you and you want to kind of do it on your own too. Let me share the screen here. Okay, so this is your Hostinger space. I have few websites that I'm hosting right now, and actually bought these domains from WHC. This is where I found cheap domain addresses. This is what I use. They are not actually sponsoring this, but this is what I found to work best. I bought this cloud startup for $109, and I can host about 100 websites here for I think 3 to 4 years. I have to check. But anyway, so here we are at cargoose.ca. And this is a WordPress website. Make sure there is a Hostinger AI that makes help you create the website. I used the Hostinger AI first, and the website creation was fantastic, but the problem is Hostinger does not have the capacity the WordPress has. There are tons and tons of plugins. You can play with lots of APIs and lots of different types of editing services, which is not available on Hostinger. So do not edit websites using Hostinger. Move it to WordPress, and there's a very quick way to do that when you're creating websites. Let me show you. So when you say add, it asks you whether it's Hostinger website or WordPress. Choose WordPress. Okay, WordPress is very, very flexible, easy for people who don't have a lot of experience. Okay, so once you get here, you can choose your themes. You can do a lot of things. So what I want to show you is how to create pages and how to edit them. So let's say I have tons of pages here that is not online yet. So there's a thing called Elementor plugin. You have to install Elementor plugin, and then you can use to edit the web page. I found this to be much easier. It's a drag and drop type of editing method. Then I'm all these images, everything are very easily added. I have this website. It makes a really beautiful, interesting website, easy to work with. And the other thing that you need contents like about a few things. You need blogs and research. You want to add a few blogs so that's SEO friendly, and then when people search about your crowdsourced shipping, which is how the internet understands our business. So I've added some blogs here. I have the SUFO Vancouver podcast added here, so I can keep building on it. I've added the capacity to log in as this is my account, so I'm gonna log out. So you can log in as a delivery driver, or you can log in as a business partner. If you log in as a business partner, then you can use the same space. Your account is registered as either a delivery driver, delivery partner, or a business partner. So you put your username, password here. You can log in. It takes you to two different spaces. One space is where you can, as a delivery partner, you can see all the list of deliveries that are available for you to pick up. And if you do a business partner, then you have a space to where it'll ask you what's the size of the shipment, how many numbers of shipments are you sending, what's the size, capacity, volume, and timeline, and all that about the origin, destination, all that stuff from here. So the website is really at a good spot. It took me 3-4 nights because I have a kid. I need to work at nights if I need to get things done. So that's how this is. It doesn't take a lot of time. If you're a little bit familiar with it, it's much easier. And if you're even not, believe me, ChatGPT got you covered. You don't need any coding skills, nothing. You don't need anything at all. Believe me, I am not a coder. I'm not a website builder. I've not done this before. Things are so easy right now. You're missing out if you're not doing it. So your resources is Web Hosting Canada for domain, Hostinger to host your websites. Elementor helps you do drag and drop websites. If you are unsure about any of them, go and ask really stupid question to ChatGPT. Tell me how to do this. Give me step-by-step process. Even integrating APIs in your website, adding custom-made codes in your website. It is absolutely accessible to anybody. Believe me, I do not have experience and able to do all these things. Today we have a message from one of our sponsors for this video. We thank our sponsor for providing some resource to make these videos in the future. If you want to sponsor, please let us know. So for this sponsor, we have Momo Travel. They are a travel booking company. They aggregate the tickets from all different sources and give you the best deal. So not only just flights, but you can also book hotels, car rentals, airport transfers. You can even get the travel insurance, and they're adding services, tons and tons of services every day. So recently I actually bought a ticket from Vancouver to LAX, Los Angeles. That was on 14 to 16. One passenger. Let's see how much the price comes out to be. And it turns out the best deal is, the cheapest is $195 US, the best deal is $205, where it's a direct flight, takes about 3 hours both directions. So that's your price for the travel. So if I take you to another website, let's say Cheapo Air, this is where I used to go before to book flights, because the name says Cheapo Air, so that should be cheap. So from YVR Vancouver to LAX, the date is 14 to 16 January, one travel. Let's find out what's the deal they got. I'm doing this live. I hope they come out not as cheaper, but I don't think there's a lot of difference in air ticket price these days. Lo and behold, this number is very high because probably it's Canadian dollar. Let's put back to US dollar because that's how it was done before. So it turns out the same flight, roughly 3 hours both way non-stop, is $300. The cheapest one with there's multiple stops. There's one stop on the way back, which takes about 7-8 hours to get back, and it's still $261 US. So as you can see, that this is ridiculously cheaper in Momo Travels, because they have signed up exclusive deals with Kiwi.com for their tickets, and they have other services they are partnering with. They're partnering with lots of other companies. Also, you can see the prices if you want to travel to other parts of the US or Europe. I am convinced that they have got the best deal out there. Okay, so let me show you this brochure we have done, and then kind of that dovetails with the marketing philosophy that we are currently going through, and it's really important. For marketing, what we have done is we don't want to just develop this product and then talk to ether like, hey, we have this, if you need it, let us know. That's probably not going to work for several reasons, because businesses are not waiting for you to solve a problem. They have figured a way to solve their problem, however it is, because they are business. They are making profit. Whatever the way they are doing, they are making it go. Imagine that it is 90s and nobody had cell phone. You can't just say that, oh, we can't live without cell phone. Well, they lived their life without cell phone. So yes, it is possible. But now that you have an iPhone or Android phone, now you want to market it, how to do it. You can just go and talk to anybody, everybody, and say, hey, use it. Or you can develop a very narrow, targeted marketing ideas. So this is what we have done. That's our philosophy. I don't know if you're correct or not. And this is how we're going. We have identified the industries that we know work really close with. My co-partner has worked with this for one of these furniture store for a long time. He understands everything about it, and he tells me that the biggest chaos in this furniture store is the back orders and unscheduled delivery. And this is very important to understand. All businesses are doing things, they are just process to it. If they have survived for a long time, they have a best fit process they have. And then, but there's always these pain points here and there. And if you want to solve them, you can't just tell them that, hey, I have a solution. No, it's not going to work. My understanding is you have to integrate within their system and then make it a part of their system so that it works. If you bring a foreign thing and it doesn't fit into their system, then it just becomes another hassle and nobody's going to use it. So what's the pinpoint with the industry right now? With the furniture stores that we know about, we've actually talked to several of them, and they all agree that this is the problem, is that they have marketing going on, and people come and buy their stuff. And then usually larger multiple objects, some people go and buy stuff for the entire house. So what happens is, while they buy everything, there's one piece missing. A chair's not there in the warehouse. They have to order the chair. or the chair was supposed to come here this week, but some reason that delayed, or there was a problem in the ordering. They didn't actually order it, so now they have to reorder it. So whatever stuff they have, they'll ship it on their scheduled delivery. They'll deliver Monday to northern part of the cities, Tuesday to southern part of the cities, Wednesday, Thursday to the eastern, because there's probably more customers in that directions. So they're planning their scheduled delivery 2 weeks in advance and things like that. They have their own vehicles, they have their own drivers and everything, but things does not work all the time the way it's supposed to work. The delivery driver sometimes gets sick, the vehicle break down, or the product's not available in the so now what happens is you have this product that it needs to be delivered, but the scheduled delivery to that direction is now in 2 weeks, 10 days, 7 days, what have you. So now the customer is going to call you every day and say that when's he's going to have this product. So at one point, the business owner makes a decision like, okay, I don't care, just deliver this on your way or on your return. I'll pay you over time. We need to get this done. And then a delivery truck goes to an address which is out of way to just drop a night lamp. That night lamp cost maybe $50, $80, and the whole delivery process probably cost them $200. So that's how things are done, because they are far fewer in between, hopefully. So they are able to absorb the cost. They are able to kind of absorb that in their margin, which they have pretty good margin, by the way. But what we are telling them that, hey, if you have a back order, something is not delivered, and you have to do an unscheduled delivery, call us. The problem is they're actually calling people. Sometimes they pay overtime to their own driver. They are solving the problem. It's not like they just stop doing a business. But now we're telling them that if you just give us this unscheduled delivery, we'll deliver it in fractions of cost, not just few percent, but fractions of cost. But the way that we're going to present is that we're going to save you money, and depending on how much money we can charge, we don't want to necessarily leave the money on the table, but we'll charge a price where everybody's happy and we still have a good profit margin, because that is essential for us too, because we want to put our hypothesis is that we can make a very good profit while doing all this. So when you go and explain this to the industry, they love it. They want to work with us because they know that we understand their problem, and then we know how to integrate into their system. We know how their POS system works. We know how their the inventory management system works, and then we will fit into that, and we'll have a data sharing method where we actually have any unscheduled delivery, any type of back orders. We get that information, and then we will immobilize right away to get that done. So instead of $200, they'll probably be spending $150, while we do the same job within $50, $60. Okay, so that's the idea. So that's one industry. Our second target market is realtor, and the reason that we are targeting it is apparently that industry is not served by anybody else, because it's not necessarily a shipping problem entirely. So their challenge is they have listings in a lot of places. If they get a client in another city, they'll take the client in another city because it makes a lot of money. So they'll take clients in Victoria, let's say, and in Chilliwack. So the problem is then, or even within the cities too, they have listings in a lot of different places. And then they have, they need to pick up the realtor's lock boxes. They also need to pick up the signage and sometimes documents, so which we can do it in a way that it's very, very economical for them, and for our drivers it's also a worthwhile thing to do while they're traveling. So for the realtors also, we're already talking the process. We're just waiting for one minor thing, and we'll list that in our website, and any of these registered drivers can pick them up. So then finally, the third market we're looking at in the e-commerce. E-commerce is a giant market, and this is where our margin's going to be smaller, but the volume is going to be insane. Like shipping for e-commerce, like a commodity. If you have, it's just for example, if everybody's making canola oil for $20 a box, and you're making it $19 a box, nobody else will be buying 20. Everybody will buy your canola oil because it's a commodity. So is shipment. If my shipment is cheaper than the others by 10%, I don't have to do 10 times better here, folks. I just have to do it most economical while maintaining a very healthy profit margin. And we can do that. So for the e-commerce, anybody selling products in Amazon or other marketplaces, like Walmart has marketplaces, Best Buy has marketplaces, all this Home Depot has marketplace. You can sell your stuff on the Home Depot website. They'll take a small cut, and then when the order happens, they'll send you the details of the customer where you need to send the shipment. So when they are doing the shipment, they are trying to find the most economical means while also meeting the standard of delivery, which is generally 5 days or whatnot. So here we can actually provide two different things. We can provide something that is cheaper than already existing in the market, and then another thing that is superior, that it can actually beat Amazon on delivery. Can you imagine if you're selling on Amazon and it's not a Prime, it's a private seller, but they ship a product faster than Amazon? Imagine that. If it's actually going to work the way that we're explaining, this is going to be a massive, massive volume that we're going to have to deal with. So we're taking it a little bit slower for that. We're kind of doing an artisan thing right now. And once we are ready, the technology works, and then we'll kind of get our toe dipped into that market. And if the hypothesis comes out correct, we will have $1 million worth of shipments sitting next month. Which I'm very confident of, but still, we'll take things slowly, step by step, methodical. So we're not rushing anything and kind of falling flat on our face. So those are our progress so far. I think I've explained the things that we've done. I've explained how we have done it. This is all for free. We're not worried people are going to copy it, because if you cannot be nimble in this market, there's no way you're going to survive. It's not about ideas, it's about how you execute it. Once you execute it, there's going to be more problem, and you got to continue innovating. So I'm not really scared about anybody copying this idea. Heck, actually copy it, and we'll learn from you and improve on that also, because that's our business model. We are ready to innovate any moment, every moment of a second. We're ready to learn, so that way nobody can beat us. So with that, once we are, I think by the next couple podcasts, we'll be in a place that we're doing deliveries. Well, thank you for listening. That's it for this episode. We'll see you on the next episode in 2 weeks. Again, Happy New Year. I hope 2025 is... It's not a lot of hope, but hopes things are going to turn around and go in positive direction. All right, take care. Bye.